that plug. I think we get 5 points for that. So,
I'm part of that. No.
I overrule you now.
Yeah, go for it.
In the land of the short people, the tallest is king. That's my motto. So thank you so much for having me up here. And I first just want to say, Alan and Nicole, thank you so much for this privilege. I know you have lots of people to speak. You didn't have to pick me to help and speak about something, but I really appreciate it. And thank you for this wonderful weekend. I'm sure all of you enjoy and learning a lot from us. Okay, so Alan asked if I would share on something with regards to health and nutrition, and something that's very dear to my heart is digestive health. And I first just wanted to say I'm the youngest daughter of 3. My dad was an engineer, my mother was a dancer and a ballet teacher. We performed a lot on stage, but we never spoke a word, we all danced. So it's kind of like Lawrence would say, I'm very excited to be here, and I'm telling myself I'm very excited to be here. So talking on digestive health, I just have a little story to relate. We immigrated to America 15 years ago. My mother came to visit us about 6-7 years ago. And my mother's a ballet teacher up until 76, 78. She was still doing the splits, very active. We couldn't keep up with her. We go get her at the airport and they push her in on a wheelchair. And Tony and I gave this one look, and Tony's like, what if she dies? What do we do with her? And I mean, this is serious. What do you do with her? So obviously, you know, we spent the next few days trying to find out, well, what's wrong? Because she has rheumatoid arthritis and a couple of things like that, but no real health issues. And of course, like any good parent, they pay lots of money for their children to go and study, but they never ask their children the advice. I was in South Africa one day and she said, I'm quickly going to the pharmacy to ask him for some advice. And I'm like, really? I'm right here. So it took us about, I'd say about a week, asking her, what drugs are you on? What are you taking? What are you using this for? Because something was wrong. Something in my gut told me something's wrong. And we went through my mom's list of drugs, and there's a drug that you guys might all be familiar with. It's called a PPI, Nexium, Prilosec. Do you guys know anybody that takes that, or do you take it? And this is where my absolute search and studying of the digestive system started, because I was shocked when I saw how people are using and abusing this medication that's also available over the counter. So with that part of the story there, I will continue now, and then I'll fill up the rest what happened with her. So the reason why I also want you to talk to you about the digestive health is the number of prescriptions sold per month for Nexium is 12.2 million per month.
Wow.
The amount of money, and that's the 4th highest selling drug in America. The amount of money that they make from the PPIs is approximately $5.3 billion. That was last year. Do you guys think it's a big industry? So with that said, I want to just quickly, this is my lovely drawing. So just so that I want you to understand a little bit how the body works. And the big reason I want to do that is because NeoLife's products are not, they don't heal anything, they don't cure anything. Our bodies is the miracle. And if you believe that God designed us, I mean, God is incredible. When you see how He designed us and you understand that, that's when you will know how to use the NeoLife products so that your body can heal. So, I just want to give a bit of an idea here. Here's your stomach. We have the mouth there, we eat our food, goes in our stomach. This is the ideal way. The stomach has a pH between 1 to 3. Who of you know what kind of pH is that? It's acidic. It's very acidic. It's like your pool acid. So anything that goes in there is now in this acidic environment. As soon as this acidic environment hits food, there's a stimulus that goes, and this is the pancreas. There's another stimulus that goes to the gallbladder. This is releasing, the gallbladder has bile. Bile gets manufactured in the liver, goes to the gallbladder, gets released when the acidic stomach stimulates it, and then the pancreas, which is an absolute workhorse. The pancreas is where all our enzymes are made. So if you eat a lot of fats, you will have a lot of enzymes to break down fats. If you eat a lot of proteins, you will have a lot of proteins to break down proteins. So The pancreas is an incredible organ, so if you overload your pancreas, it doesn't function properly, so you don't have all the enzymes. So in a perfect world, your pancreas makes all the enzymes. This then becomes, see at this end where the stomach ends, this becomes an alkaline environment, and that's your small intestine. In your small intestine, your alkaline environment now, the bile is able to break down your fat-soluble vitamins. Those are, do you guys know what the fat-soluble vitamins are? Easy to remember, ADEC. If you don't have vitamin A, if you don't have vitamin D, if you don't have EK, it means the fat-soluble vitamins aren't being extracted. So that's on this side. Then your pancreas does the enzymes. This helps in over there to break down a lot of the foods. Sorry. Okay, so this helps to break the foods down and the particles, like I said, the protein, the fats, so that when your food hits your small intestines, it can then reabsorb. And this is the final area where your micronutrients, your minerals, all of that is then absorbed back into the body, kidneys, wherever it needs to function. Okay, so this is what happens in a perfect environment where we have an acidic stomach and the triggers are there. But the older we get, the more alkaline our stomachs get. So that's why most of my patients I work with are over 50 years old, and they are all on the PPIs. But these people are experiencing quite serious side effects. Because if you don't have an acid environment in your stomach, that doesn't trigger your bile, that doesn't trigger your enzymes, so what happens? Your food actually rots in your stomach. That's the first thing. The second thing is there's a little valve up here. If your stomach is acidic, that valve closes. If your stomach is not acidic, this valve doesn't close. The food that then rots actually kind of creeps up. And when people say they have heartburn or reflux, it's not acidic. It's more like a bitter taste. That's the food that rots. Now, many of you might never have suffered with that. But if you have any of that kind of indigestion, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's so bad that some people actually get treated for a heart attack, and all they have is indigestion. So the important thing too for the bile, if the bile is not there to extract the fat-soluble vitamins, it's also essential for the essential fatty acids to be extracted. So if your stomach is not acidic, it doesn't trigger the bile, all of a sudden you don't have vitamin A. What happens if you don't have vitamin A? Night blindness, dry skin. What happens if you have vitamin D? You have problems with leaky gut, you have cardiovascular issues, there's a whole bunch of stuff. What happens if you don't have vitamin E? Your blood circulation isn't good. Your heart, all of a sudden people have all these heart palpitations and the blood flow to the heart. So can you guys start getting an idea that digestion is kind of important? So we seem to miss out that what you eat is what you are. That really is important. So, and I'll get to the solution and show you guys how we can help with this, because we really have incredible products for that. So this is now important because your essential fatty acids, everything that's used here, we've heard a lot about that from the lipids and the sterols. These things all go back up. And that's a whole nother talk. It's your thyroid, it's your hormones, it's your cholesterol, it's all of that feeds off this system. So if you don't produce the bile due to that, that's what you get. You have a lack of all of these. So now, with a pancreas, sorry, but it's one big mess here. With a pancreas, if you eat a diet very high in sugar, carbohydrates, and your enzymes get so depleted, they kind of get lazy. So eventually you can't break down protein. We live in an era where there's extremely high amounts of autoimmune disease. The protein doesn't get broken down. So what happens? The protein gets into the small intestine, kind of like half broken down. It's not really broken down. So you get all these particles, and in the small intestine, the lymph absorbs these. And that immediately triggers allergies, hay fever, autoimmune disease. Have anybody ever suffered with those? Where does we go back to? It all goes back to digestion. If our food is not digested properly, we end up with a whole bunch of sicknesses and illnesses, and everything is avoidable. We can just change things and add a couple of things. So from there, I'm going to leave this section for now, and just to go on to our slides over here. And just to help you guys, I use the slides that are in the NeoLife back office so that if you ever want to speak to somebody about any of this, it is there. You don't have to go and make your own slides up. So I did the part where you can see the stomach, intestine, and colon, and then, the best thing to do is, when it comes to the products, is our Digest. Now, our Digest is basically got betaine hydrochloric acid in it. We also have that in the Pro Vitality, but I just want to talk individual now. So if somebody needs to have an acidic stomach, so their food, if you're belching and burping and you can feel that your digestion is not good, you start by aiding your stomach acids. This is really an incredible product because it really helps very quickly, even like before meals. As soon as you start taking it, you'll feel that your digestion is better, you won't have that bloatedness because now your stomach acid is much lower. Then we have the enzymes, our digestive enzymes that all help here with the pancreas. Is the digestive enzymes then delivers and gives all the enzymes that we are lacking so we can start breaking down the proteins, the fats, and the carbohydrates. Sorry. Now you can use this in the Betazyme in the box, which is really nice because it's little packages. You can just slip them in your bag, take them wherever you go. When you go eat out, always take that before a meal, and it really helps to digest. What I must say at this point is if you are or you know of somebody that's on the PPIs, the Nexium, Prilosec, or any of those medications, then if they ever say they want to start with this, just make sure that they speak to their doctor and tell them, I want to wean off the one and go on to the other so that my body can function at its optimal way, the way it should be. And the reason is, sometimes when people just start the Betazyme and they stop their Prilosec or Dexilant or any of those, they feel horribly sick. So you don't want them to do that. Just tell them, consult your doctor, tell them what you're doing, because you don't want to take that risk that something can happen. Okay, so now when we've restored, we've got the gut pH is better, we've got the pancreas for the enzymes. What I also wanted to mention is in the Digest you also get ox bile. That bile is very important because it helps to break things down. So the Betazyme packet is just a complete digestive aid. So that is really great for you to use. Now when we get to the small intestine, just to talk about there is, if everything here doesn't get broken down as it should be, if it's not in the right state, then what happens is we have what we would call to people, we have an overgrowth of bad bacteria. Because now all of a sudden the stomach wasn't acidic enough to kill the bugs, so then it gets down into the colon. And how many people do you know in small intestines in the colon, every second body and their uncle has irritable bowel disease, colitis, Crohn's? They've all just got very bad digestion. So if you can get that fixed up and you can get their colon functioning and their small intestines, and how much better than giving them acidophilus? That is probably, to me, it's probably one of the most incredible products. The research behind this, you can try whatever you want else on the market. There's nothing that works like this. I've had some of my own pharmacy friends say, oh no, the stuff we've got is good. I'm like, really? Just try one of these, two of these, and they're amazed. So the research that they got behind this, the amount of flora that's in there, that's actual live culture. A lot of the stuff we sell in the pharmacy, when you open up the box, it says 50,000 units of live culture at date of manufacture. So what does that really mean? The way that NeoLife put the research in there, that's the exclusive gel guard, so it doesn't get absorbed or broken down here. It's when it goes down into this environment, because if it didn't have the gel guard in there, the stomach's acid would just destroy it. So the research in that is absolutely phenomenal. So a wonderful thing to give, but also keep in mind if a little child has any kind of oral thrush, or they have, a lot of the young kids have problems with GI problems, and that they can open the capsules because they don't have the stomach acids that can affect it. So little babies, we use it a lot for them. Something that plays a very big role these days too is stress-related digestive problems. It is really basically just, bad eating habits and getting the wrong nutrients in. So with all of that, then you don't absorb the right thing, and when we don't give our bodies the right thing, then we end up with problems, as in stress, like we see it these days. So a very good thing to use, and I absolutely love, is aloe vera juice. I mean, our kids have had aloe vera juice from when they could just basically open their eyes and had a little bit of this. And even now, if they complain about anything, have you had aloe vera juice yet? No, Mom, go to the fridge, help yourself. There's always a big bottle in the fridge. So it's really good. And for anybody that struggles with any digestive, don't go drink cups full of the stuff. That's not it. Just have a little bit at a time. It's got a very much like a gel-like formula, like it coats all the soft tissue where it goes down, helps the stomach. It's really gentle and soothing. So let's just get back now to when we go to the colon and the elimination. We have a phenomenal package that they just released for us now recently. It's the detox. And if anybody has any kind of digestive problems, I would suggest you start with a detox. There's nothing better than cleaning out the stuff that shouldn't have been there. Years ago in South Africa, I remember listening to a gastroenterologist there, and the guy did a slide of somebody's colon, and there was peanut butter in there. And the girl said, but my mother doesn't eat peanut butter. She hasn't had peanut butter in 26 years. So some of us have some extra baggage that we carry along for a whole lot longer than needs to be. It's time to flush it out. The thing that people need to realize with the colon as well, and the small and the intestines, that's like the small brain. We hear a lot of people that struggle with depression, with mood swings, with problems like that. If you can get this stuff all cleared out and your body can absorb the nutrients it needs to absorb, guess what? All that brain fog, that depression, that bad feeling, all of that goes away. Most people, when they do the detox, say, man, I got so much energy, I feel so well. Why? It's because all of a sudden there's nothing preventing your body from doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm not going to go through the individual products here. They have the NeoLife, there's the garlic, there is the fiber, just so that you guys, I'm sure you're all familiar with the package. It's very well set out, how to use it, what to take, but that is a good way to start. So I just want to get back to my story quickly. So we have people that take the Nexium, the PPIs, and they use that. So in today's world, in the medicine side, we see a lot of people that have problems with blood pressure. We see a lot of people that have muscle spasm. We prescribe a lot of antispasmodics. And I mean, the drugs list is endless. They have backache. All of that is the side effect of the stomach being alkaline, because those drugs pushes the pH of the stomach up. So all of a sudden, your vitamin Bs are not broken down. If this area is not acidic, your body doesn't absorb vitamin B. If it doesn't have vitamin B, you can't absorb iron. People become anemic. People have low thyroid function because this is not acidic. The triggers to the liver doesn't function. Can you guys see how important it is to have an acidic stomach? We've been told for years and years and years, oh, it's too acidic. Do you really think God didn't know what he was doing? I mean, who are we? This thing is acidic so that valve can close, that valve can close, the stomach can do its business, and you can feel much better. So if you don't absorb those nutrients, you're going to sit with a whole bunch of ailments. So the Pro Vitality Pack and the protein shake does wonders because it gives us all those nutrients. But if you feel or you know of anybody that struggles with indigestion, really consider giving them the package. So the B design, and make sure they use that. So my mother, finally we found out, and we saw all her numbers. She had to get an iron infusion before she could fly to America. They wouldn't let her on the aeroplane. So that's thing one, Mom. I know now your vitamin Bs aren't being absorbed. She had no calcium. Her calcium was so low, it was terrible. She was belching, she was burping, she was throwing up, she couldn't keep food, and it was just terrible. So we started juicing with her. She had the B-Designs three times a day. I think it was probably just on her alone in a space of 10 days, we used about 500 PV, just on her. And after 10 days, we had a weekend function up in NeoLife, and my mother was there. She was skipping and dancing and doing her ballet moves like she always used to, and we could not believe it. She flew back a week later. She got off the plane, and my sister called. My sister that does not believe in NeoLife. She called and she said, "What did you do to Mom?" She's like 10 years younger. So just helping her digestive system works. She was a new person. She had energy. She could eat. She could laugh. She could talk. She's 82 years old now. She still has presentation. She sells the products. And people are amazed. And that gave her a new lease on life. And I spoke to Jim McAfee about her. He said, if you guys didn't do something, she would have been dead within 18 months. So another thing also to remember, and I forgot to say that, is our minerals are so important. If you don't have your minerals, your iodine, your selenium, your manganese, if you don't have those ones, many of your important hormones cannot be made. And that's also why so many people have such a lot of hormonal problems. So the multi-mineral is extremely good. It helps to aid in that. So just a very good way to let people, I know it's a lot of products, but sales will go up. You'll be happy this month, Josh, because everybody's going to be ordering that. And then I just wanted to, on another note, last night I quickly told my story about how we got started in the business, but a few people always ask me, I have a pharmacist, I have a doctor, I have a chiropractor, how do we approach them? Unfortunately, us in the medical field think we know everything, but we don't, we really don't. It's been 22 years of me learning more about nutrition, reading stuff up, finding out stuff, and I just wanted to tell you guys, when we started the business, we got our box. We had a business in a box, and there were supplements to Formula 4, and I gave them to Tony, and I said, you need the money. And I didn't take any of them. And we were probably in the business for about a year when I was competing in a cycling race, and they had the Feel Better program. It was the Formula 4, carotenoids, and the shake. If you took it for 30 days and you didn't feel better, they gave your money back. I'm like, I'm going to prove them wrong. So I took the products. I was extremely skeptical. Because there was nothing to me. I didn't study this, I didn't know this. So I took the products and ended up in a massive accident in the cycling race. I lost all my teeth, broke my jaw, messed up my face, and I had surgery on the Monday night where they removed all my teeth, sewed it all up. It was just horrible. And when we went back to the doctor on the Friday, my skin, the scabs on my face had all fallen off. My skin was perfectly pink underneath. I was cut open here. And my inside of my mouth, the stitches were falling out. And I said to the doctor, he opened up my mouth. I mean, it was all wired up. And he looked at it and he goes, where's this? I said, I don't know. My mouth was it's all falling out. And he said, I've never seen this happen. And that got me realizing there's something different here. And it was 6 months later when I started using the zinc and the vitamin E. But I want you guys to understand that people in the medical field, they shoot things down. It's only because they don't know anything about it. That's it. So give us a bit of grace. We're not all there yet. I hope this helped you guys a little bit. I hope there was some information you can use. If there's anybody in your family that have any GI problems, really, it's easy to help them. Get them on the B-Design, get them on the protein, the Pro Vitality, and let them, start changing their life. They'll feel like new people. Thank you very much.